Welcome to the Monday Monologue. Well, today we're going to revisit a topic that was pretty controversial that I brought up a while ago, talking about my opinion that, at least with my system and my sources, that my vinyl setup destroys anything that I've been able to get out of digital. And, you know, I've tried my Blue Node X hooked up to a Denafrip stack. So I don't think that, it's not the highest end thing on the planet, but it's not garbage. And did some more kind of diving into this. And previously I've been using Amazon HD Music. And I did discover you have to be really careful that it can default to low res if you've logged in with a different device and you're like, on the second device, or it thinks you're on a second device. It will only allow like the normal res music. It won't allow their high res content. And so had to jump through some hoops occasionally to get that to like straighten itself out. And I think another thing that a couple of people have misquoted me on, saying, oh, well, you're an idiot if you can't hear the difference between Bluetooth and streaming. And that isn't what I said. What I was talking about with my E70 was that for very casual background music, like if I'm in the kitchen cleaning up, doing some dishes, or if I'm just kind of wandering around the house doing chores, that in that situation, the new Bluetooth seems fine to me. And yeah, there's some more resolution if you're critically listening and you've got no other sounds going on in the house and that sort of thing. But if somebody was, say you're having a party and you just want to have stream from your phone, you're not going to lose a ton that would be noticeable by people just using Bluetooth. And so this whole idea that I'm saying that there's no difference between the two that's putting words in my mouth, which people love to do. But anyway, so back to the streaming thing. And I've got a Blue Sound Node X, the newest one. And then I've also tried the output from it going through my Topping E70, which is supposed to be a pretty highly rated DAC. Amir and those guys gave it rave reviews. And I'm sure there's $3,000 or $4,000 DACs that there might be some difference in. And I still want to try Gishelli DAC. I've heard good things about that. And so I want to give one of those a try. But been listening to, let's take this album in particular. Kenny Burrell, Midnight Blue. Really freaking great album. And if you have the Blue Note release of it, it's got a huge soundstage. And they have separated the channels up where the guitar is almost all on the left and the sax is over on the right. Okay? So when I listen to the Amazon Music version of this, it's not as crisp and it sounds like mono. It sounds like they've just squished it into one channel, or they moved everything into the center. And I don't know if it's just a different mastering or a different person was moving the sliders when they were converting it to digital. And so, yeah, it just doesn't sound as good. And so is that the mastering, or is that the source material? Is it the vinyl, or is it that the digital file just isn't as good as what they cut into the record? So recently I decided I'm going to do a subscription to Tidal, because I really don't like how Amazon Music is let's say the lack of integration with Amazon Music and the Blue Note app. And Tidal has full integration, and Dahlia agreed that this was a good idea, so I did it. And it's definitely easier to navigate. But then I noticed on Tidal they have two versions of this. One of them was from 2012, and the other one was, I'll put the name up here, I can't remember, it starts with a G, Cheershaw or something. Anyway, and that's the same one that Amazon has. And lo and behold, when I listen to the two of them, the one that shares with Amazon has that same sound stages all crushed into the middle, but the 2012 version on Tidal sounds more like this. But then the problem I had with it was, and I don't know if this is that whole loudness wars thing and the backlash from that, the output from my DAC with that version of it was so low, I had to turn my 300B amp wide open to get to the same in-room sound pressure levels that the other digital version would have at half volume. And that's with, the volume on the output of the streamer and the DAC set the same. And so, what's going on there? And now I'm wondering if what I'm hearing isn't the actual device, like digital versus vinyl, but it's just that over the years I've been pretty selective on what vinyl I keep, and I've got really good masterings of vinyl, and that's why it sounds better to my ears than any of the digital that I've listened to. And so I don't know, Tidal's highly rated. I don't know if there's some science to trying to figure out which songs are mastered well or if they're different on different platforms. And I'm going to do some more listening between Amazon HD and Tidal with some different titles and see if I can hear a difference between the two. And then I know there's Qobuz and there's some other ones, and you can leave in the comments below what you listen to and if you think there's a huge difference between them. I did have a viewer sent me a artist to listen to, and if I could remember it, I'd include it in this week's video of music to listen to. Maybe I'll put it in the description and then we'll highlight it in a future one. But there was a YouTube video of it, and of course standard YouTube's going to be pretty bleh. So I went to Bandcamp and downloaded the WAV files and the FLAC files and put them on a thumb drive and plugged them into my DAC so I could play them through my streamer, and played it through that, and that sounded really good. And so, is there something to downloading the music and then playing it off a local drive versus streaming? And maybe that's what I'm missing, and I need to just start, downloading the, vinyl that I love, and then putting it all on a drive. Whether, I guess a thumb drive isn't going to make any difference versus a, electronic hard drive or whatever. Seems like a thumb drive would be cleaner because there's no battery, or you're not running it through another computer and all that kind of mess. It's just coming straight off the drive. But again, comments below from you streamer folks. Is that what I need to be doing? And is that what I'm missing? Because there's clearly something, and I've got a really nice vinyl setup. I've got a moving coil, OC9 MXL AT cartridge, one of those micro line ones. Got a hand-selected step-up transformer that I've gone through 3 or 4 different step-up transformers and found one that really matches that cartridge. And then I've got my tube EAR phono stage, which is really good sounding. And so, yeah, obviously I've got more invested in my turntable setup than I have in my digital. And so, yeah, there's all that. But anyway, I just wanted to clear up some of that misinformation and people misquoting me about what I said in the past, because, yeah, that's not what I said. It's just like the Bluetooth thing. I was just shocked how good it sounded. When people talk about how it's just horrible, it's not horrible. Yeah, there's a difference with streaming, and it sounds more holographic, and it does, have more detail and stuff, but it's not like it's just unlistenable to. So, it's definitely not like the difference between an MP3 and a uncompressed audio file. That's way worse than what the Bluetooth is. So if you're listening to MP3s, you're not losing anything through the Bluetooth. It's your files that are the problem. So anyway, you're probably going, what are these speakers here? Well, started doing some speaker purchases. I feel like that was something I was neglecting on my system, was trying different speakers. And I recently tried these JBL speakers that were, bigger than the two of these put together, side by side, pretty much. And just didn't sound good with my system and the music that I listen to. Especially the top end was just, somebody said it was like an ear pin, like somebody sticking a pin in your ear. And I mean, it was just like a screamer. I mean, the top end was punchy top end. Like the treble would be good to a point, and then when it went just a little more, it would go from being like mellow treble to like super bright. And yeah, I couldn't deal with them. And so sent those back. Crutchfield was great. I'm going to do a video about my experience with dealing with Crutchfield, but they were jam up on dealing with the return, so that wasn't an issue. And so I found this Fine Audio F500 that one viewer recommended, and I really like them. They sound they bring a delicacy to the music that I've never heard out of my clip speakers. Now, I will say that I almost prefer female vocals on my clip speakers. I know that's crazy, but maybe in that range where that little dip is, that we all know is there, that little dip kind of, I don't know. There's something about it. And so, hey, and that's not a problem to have speakers that one works great with one kind of music and another pair works better with another. It's no different than tube rolling. And so we got some speakers to roll. And the latest addition is this little Quad S2. I've only listened to it for about an hour. And I know people say, oh, you got to let speakers break in before you can really tell what's going on. Yeah, they change a little bit. And I get they're an electromechanical thing that needs to loosen up. But out of the box, they sound good. They got a really even response. For being such a little speaker with a small driver that's got a little tiny rear bass port, they've got really nice smooth bass, and I actually like the bass response on both of these much better than the clips with that big rectangle bass port that it has. This one has a down-firing bass port with a little cone that radiates out the bass, and this one's got the bass port's only about that big around, just a little guy on the back. And both of these sound really nice. Now these are on closeout, so if you are interested in getting a pair of these, they are at Music Direct and got no affiliation with those. I'll put the link below, but I've got no connection with them, but they're definitely on their way out. I think these were $1,200. I sell them for $8 or something like that, so they're a really good deal. All they had left were these rosewood ones, but it's a beautiful speaker. And that little tweeter's not too in your face. And again, I've only got about an hour on them, so I haven't sat down listening to these versus the clips. We'll do a review on that in the future, but I'm super happy with both of these. And then I put a down payment on some Deckware DM945 little small speakers like this too. And they've got a larger diameter woofer in a small cabinet. There's no crossover. I think it's just got a cap on the tweeter to protect it from the low frequencies, and that's it. So that'll be an interesting speaker to listen to. And that's one of the things that I'm starting to figure out is sizing the speaker to your room is just as important as sizing the amplifier wattage to your needs. And that when you put too large a speaker in a small room, there's just the whole synergy thing gets whacked out. That the speaker isn't in a space where it can like breathe and really function well. And then you're trying to like you're too near field for what that speaker was designed for. And I think it's important, like I went and listened to a pair of MoFi 10s and I really like the way they sound. They're a little edgy on the top end, and this is coming from somebody who listens to clip speakers. There was some edginess to the top end, but they really had a great sound stage. They had nice bass. I'd love to hear a pair of the 8s, but I still feel like that they're too large a speaker for my listening space. And I could get proved wrong. There's other things that I'm getting proved wrong on, or I'm changing my mind about. But for now, I'm going to kind of stick with this idea that this size of speaker cabinet or speaker include whatever is the size that works well in my small listening space. And so far, all the larger speakers that I've tried just haven't worked out. So let's do the music reviews for the week. This is a no-brainer, and I know I've featured this before, but if you don't have this, go buy it or go stream. And I can't recommend the streaming really. I mean, the Tidal version that's not, I think they label it a 2012 edition, sounds more like this, but it's so low output. Maybe if you have a system that's got enough gain, it won't be a problem. But the vinyl sounds freaking amazing. There's like zero surface noise. They're like $20, and I'll put the link below. Hopefully Amazon's got some available now. The next one, and I heard this because I have my music streamer or streaming service playing in my car when I'm driving around. And one thing I like about Amazon Music, and I'll have to see if Tidal does this, it probably does, that if you pick a selection, then once that's over, like when this finishes playing, it starts just playing stuff in the same genre of music or similar artists. And this one came up. Stan Getz and Joan Gilberto. And this is a really fun, kind of different Central American kind of music. He's singing some in Spanish, she's singing in English. I don't really care if I understand the words or not. I'm one of those people, I never really listen to the lyrics in a song anyway. I listen to the singer, but I'm not really paying attention to what they're saying. And so it doesn't matter what language they're singing in. And it's just really pretty music. And these two like seamlessly fit together with their vocals. So if you haven't heard this, give this a try. There's two versions on Amazon. One of them is like $4 cheaper from like Dom pressing, and it was horrible. There was just massive surface noise. I mean, like before the first track even started playing, it was all, it's like, this is not, yeah. So anyway, I sent that back and I got the Verve version, which is like $26, and you just Pick this up, buy it on Amazon, and it sounds really great. So, we talked about Miles Davis. Some of y'all recommended some of his other stuff, and this one is that Amanda? Yeah, Amandala. There we go, Amandala. And again, this one has Marcus Miller as part of this production. Really fun music. And this one, it's not like Bitches Brew where it's like, what's going on? This is just good toe tapping music. And I need to get some more of the Miles Davis vinyl in this period. This was, I think, the only one in that period that Amazon still has. So I got it, and it's Plaza Independencia music. I don't know. I'll put the link. It's a good pressing. It's clean, it's crisp, low surface noise, sounds really good. Finally, we've got Oliver Nelson, The Blues and the Abstract Truth. It's got Paul Chambers, Eric Dolphy, Bill Evans, Roy Haynes, and Freddie Hubbard. It's on Impulse Records, and this is a super clean album. This is just fun jazz music. It's, again, like that toe tapping, some of it's, does it border on corny? A little bit of it, maybe? But, man, it's just fun to listen to. And it's such a good recording. Highly recommend you give this a try. And again, for all of these, if you're like me, you've probably got streaming plus vinyl. And so you could go stream this stuff and see if you even like it. And then go buy the vinyl. So, there we go. Another Monday monologue under my belt. Hope you enjoy the series. Y'all really seem to enjoy my Monday monologues. So, we're going to keep doing these every week. Thanks to all you Patreon supporters. Thanks to all you folks that have subbed to the channel. Man, we're so close to 15K subs. We may have jumped over it. And I haven't looked this morning. But we were really close. We were within like 50 the last time I looked. So, if we made it, yay! If not, subscribe. Help me get there. Anyway, just really appreciate all your support. Thanks for watching my videos. And we will see you next week for the Monday Monologue.